So actually, we all are working for nothing, for free. You'll never own any property. Now they'll feed you. You're gonna get food, but the food nowadays is not really food. They're spraying it with all types of chemicals. You got chemicals in the water. It's just corrupt. Corrupt. Everything is corrupt. And this Constitution, we never had no say so in the Constitution. So we shouldn't even be taxed. When I say we, I'm talking about the black man. We didn't have nobody uh, representing us when this Constitution was written. We didn't have nobody representing us when the they freed us from being so-called slaves. They freed us and promised us 40 acres and a mule, and they didn't never ask our opinion. They never asked us, do we want to be a citizen of the country? And so we started migrating towards the uh, culture and society of this country, trying to get work, trying to get fed, trying to be a part of the society, and they didn't want us in. And so when we started building towns of our own and circulating that dollar among ourselves, having black businesses and stuff, they would destroy them. They didn't want us to vote, so they wanted to take taxes out. And if we accumulated some gold, they didn't want us to have no gold. So it's something I want y'all to check out.
If you're born after 1970, then I'm sure there's a big chunk of our monetary history that you're not aware of. This history is a vital point in understanding the journey of sound money and fiat currency here in the United States of America. Today I'm going to share with you a few facts that are quite interesting, as well as definitely some eye-openers in this journey of monetary awareness. In his annual economic report to the Congress on January 21, 1963, John F. Kennedy said he wished to authorize the Federal Reserve System to issue notes in denominations of $1 so as to make possible the gradual withdrawal of silver certificates from circulation. In conjunction with JFK's plan, he signed Executive Order 11,110, which amended Executive Order 10,289 from 1951, which allowed the Secretary to issue more silver certificates if any were needed during the transition period. The U.S. Congress passed the Act of June 4, 1963, which provided, among other things, the blueprint to remove U.S. certificates from circulation. Silver certificates were U.S. legal tender and entitled the holder to redeem them for face value in silver. Pursuant to the Act of June 4, 1963, U.S. Treasury C. Douglas Dillon, after the assassination of President Kennedy, announced in March 1964 the end of the redemption of silver certificates to coincide with the cessation of mintage of silver coinage at the end of that year. The act allowed the exchange of silver certificates for silver bullion up until June 24, 1968. Prior to 1965, United States mints, dimes, quarters, half dollars, and dollar coins were 90% silver and 10% copper. Silver coins were so prevalent as a form of everyday currency in the United States that the U.S. Mint made 550 million ounces of silver to produce 1964 dated dimes, quarters, and half dollars. This chart shows a breakdown of the number of coins minted in 1964 and the amount of silver required to mint them. Pursuant to the Coinage Act of 1965, U.S. coins would no longer be made of 90% silver. Kennedy half dollars would be minted of 40% silver from 1965 to 1970. From 1965 on, U.S. coins would be minted from a mixture of copper and nickel. If that was a surprise, shortly afterwards another shock was fast approaching: the removal of U.S. bills larger than 100 from circulation. On July 14, 1969, Secretary of Treasury David M. Kennedy and the Fed announced that they would immediately stop distributing currency in denominations higher than $100. At the time of the announcement, the $500 bill featuring President McKinley, the $1,000 bill featuring President Cleveland, and the $5,000 bill featuring President Madison, and the $10,000 bill featuring Senator Salmon Chase were bills all in circulation. The Fed's stated reason for their removal from circulation was that their main purpose was for bank transfer payments. With the arrival of more secure technologies, however, they no longer needed them in circulation. In 1969, it was deemed that a $100 bill was a valid denomination for regular circulation. On February 16, 2016, however, former Treasury Secretary Lawrence Summers penned an editorial in which he advocated it's time to kill the $100 bill. Mr. Summers' editorial advocating killing the $100 bill was based on a contemporaneous discussions in the European Union to eliminate the 500 euro bill. Mr. Summers reasoned that notes with large denominations are highly irresponsible and mostly a boon to corruption and crime. The removal of large denomination bills also makes it inconvenient for law-abiding people to hold large sums of money in cash. I wonder what's next. Would it be far-fetched to say that the attempt to remove cash altogether is not too far away? What do you think?
Can you get a good close picture of this? Okay, we were talking about this.
This is a gold.
A gold certificate. And remember that in 1933, President Roosevelt, confiscated all gold, made it illegal for Americans to hold gold. But then prior to that time, in the early 1930s and 20s, the 20s and 1900s, they had $20 gold pieces. This is normal, like we have money, because this was real money that they had at this time. So, Dr. Mason, we have this silver certificate. What is that? $20?
Well, this is a $20. Actually, this is actually a gold certificate here.
And what does it say?
Now, well, actually, that's why I had to bring up.
Is this the U.S. Treasury?
This is the U.S. Treasury.
So it's not a Federal Reserve note. See, this is the $5 bill, and it says Federal Reserve note. You take out any paper money out of your wallet. It says Federal Reserve note. This is not a U.S. Treasury note. This is a private bank. Now, we don't have time to get into any detail on that, but this wicked system, this is what has us, has devalued our currency. Now we're talking about a U.S. Treasury note. It's issued by the federal government and not by a private bank, and it's called a $20 gold certificate. Now, what does it say on that?
Well, what it says here is that it's redeemable. This is the key, when you look at the currency or the note. The key here is saying here that it's redeemable in gold on demand, okay, at the United States Treasury, okay, which in essence means that this is backed up by the system itself. In other words, this is not what we call just fiat currency, just something that's printed on paper and so forth.
Right.
But this is backed up actually by the government of the United States Treasury here, in essence here, for $20. That's what it is.
So you come in and get $20 worth of gold at this time. Is this prior to 1933?
Yes.
So we just want to make you conscious of what has transpired since 1933. And the Federal Reserve became effective illegally according to our Constitution. Only Congress has the power to mint money, but they turn this over to a monopoly system called the Federal Reserve.
So what they do is conquer people, make the people submit to their will. Their will is corrupt. Now, everything is illegal according to their Constitution, which they say is the supreme law of the land. So they make little regulations and ordinances on the people, but they are too big, talking about the controllers, who y'all call Illuminati, who y'all call so-called Jews and the Mafia. The Vatican, all them. they rule the people by force, because you see they don't want Iran to weapons equal to their weapons, and so they report back to the American people that the Iranians are evil, and the American people are so brainwashed and patriotic that they fall for this rhetoric. And Venezuela, they say the same thing. The government there is doing the people wrong. All these different countries that they go to war with doing the people wrong, doing their people wrong. Syria, over there in Syria, they gassing the people and this and that and the other, doing the people wrong except them. They ain't do us wrong. They ain't doing us wrong. And every time we complain about it, they say, they want the world to think that they're not doing us wrong, that we doing ourselves wrong. But we don't kill our presidents. We ain't killed our president over here. Y'all did that. Y'all murdering your own presidents. Just like the LAPD knocked off Nipsey, the Secret Service knocked off Kennedy, because he wasn't following the script. And it was all about that money, as you've seen in this video, about that fake money. So now you got Trump, he following the script, see. And them four sisters, who they call the crew, that the people told go back to their home, they following the script too. See, because one thing, you can't be no Muslim bowing down to the enemy's political system. See, Muslims' politics, Islam politics is different. It goes by the laws of the Quran. Politics is way different than American politics. All this is an act. The whole political system is a theater. It's an act. And when Nipsey had the first smart store, the LAPD was running the gangs. The connection to the neighborhood was probably Big U or whatever. And Nipsey, he wanted to break away and do it his way, and they wasn't having it. This is to be continued. Black Light.